An unassuming garage on the outskirts of Marienburg, near the Polish city of Gdansk. For months now, it served as the temporary resting place for some 2,000 people who lost their lives at the end of the Second World War. Most of them were women and children.
The forensic analysis had to be conducted and documentation compiled for each body. So the remains were stored here and secured so nobody could gain access.
The town was eager for closure and an end to the constant speculation over the identity and fate of the dead. As the Red Army advanced in early 1945, Marienburg became the scene of heavy fighting between the retreating Germans and the advancing Russians. The population of the town, then called Marienburg, was almost all German. Thousands fled or were killed in the fighting. But 2,000 civilians were unaccounted for after the war. During this period, the Russians occupied the town, and new residents arrived. Tadeusz Bronowski was 11 when he arrived. His family had been driven out of eastern Poland.
We moved into the Germans' homes. The former residents' belongings were still there, like blankets and dishes, as if they'd just gone away on holiday. The only Germans left were a few hundred prisoners of war who had to gather the bodies from the streets, and there were a lot of bodies.
The bodies went missing and were only discovered last winter during construction work. Experts still don't know how they died. There were no eyewitnesses. Did they die of exhaustion, an epidemic, or were they caught in crossfire? Tests have shown that they weren't, as has been speculated, victims of a mass execution. Only a few were shot. This is how the excavation site looks today.
We
can't say for sure whether they were locals or possibly refugees from East Prussia. A lot of refugees were in the town back then.
The discovery of the bodies has brought the town face to face with its troubled German-Polish history. There's been no public debate, but people certainly have their opinions.
If the bones were here, then they should stay here. They're local people.
It used to be a German town. Now it's ours. They should go. The Russians took our homeland.
If they've been lying here for decades, then they should be left here.
We're just a small tourist town.
We have cemeteries for the Soviets and for the British. And there used to be some German cemeteries here. If the people are from here, why shouldn't they be buried here?
The British government pays for the upkeep of the Commonwealth War Cemetery in Marienburg. Germany already has large cemeteries in Poland. An additional one was deemed too expensive. Marienburg itself is unable to pay for a German cemetery, says an official spokesman. Just exhuming the bodies was expensive, and the town said putting up a memorial plaque was all it could do.
I've read various opinions on the internet. We're reluctant to get involved and haven't organized any public debate. We're not sure if there was any interest anyway.
Another issue may have been a factor, although nobody would say so on camera. There were reportedly fears that Marienburg could become a pilgrimage site for neo-Nazis if the remains stayed there.
We don't know about that. It's just speculation. We want the cemeteries to be cared for properly and well visited. If a cemetery is located near the German border, then there'll be more visitors.
The remains have now been moved to a final resting place. a war cemetery outside Sczcecin, close to the border with Germany. Large central cemeteries like this one are favored due to cost. But that could mean the real events may fade from public memory in the place where they occurred.